Now, BYJU'S Exam Prep is the most comprehensive app for all the examinations, including CAT, as well as other MBA entrance examinations. Now, here at BYJU'S, we provide our aspirants with the end-to-end preparation so that they can achieve their desired goals. Now, in this session, I'm going to help you in basically increasing your percentile in the examination which are specific to CAT and other MBA entrance examinations. Now, friends, in this series that I'm running since last few days, we are basically discussing percentages and its applications. And after the last 3 or 4 sessions that we have spent on percentages, percentage change and percentage increase, profit loss discount, here I am welcoming you once again to the next session in the series. In this session, I'll be helping you in understanding the basic concepts which are related to simple and compound interest. Now, friends, simple and compound interest is considered as one of the difficult concepts as far as percentages is concerned. Now, in today's lecture, like I'll be continuing where I have left yesterday. Okay, so we have seen basic ways of applications of percentage increase, percentage change, and their applications in profit loss and discount. In the last session of profit and loss and discount, I have given you one of the ways using which you can get rid of all the formulas. So what I'm saying is there is no need to use any of the formulas if you have an if you have a proper understanding of all the concepts of percentages. Yes, my dear friends, only percentages are required to do good in profit loss discount as well as in simple and compound interest. Okay, so you must have understood that I'm little against using the formulas, but I'm not asking you not to use the formulas. Formulas are also helpful, but if we can ease down a few things by just understanding the concepts, okay, then we will be able to solve a lot of time. We can make life easy for ourselves. All right, so here I am with another basic level concept which will help you in understanding simple and compound interest properly. Okay, now friends, I'll start with first of all giving you the formulas that we see in simple and compound interest. Okay, so if I talk about simple interest, this is the formula for simple interest that we have learned from from whatever time we have been studying this chapter, probably standard 6 or 7. All right, so the formula of simple interest says that simple interest is equal to principal into time. I have represented time by n is the number of years, okay, multiplied by the rate, so PNR divided by 100. So this is the formula for simple interest in the concept of simple interest. All right, okay, next we have seen the formula of compound interest, and what happens is we learn this formula by heart. Okay, and when it comes to application of this formula, definitely we apply this formula, but it takes a lot of time in the calculations. Okay, so today in this lecture I'll be helping you in reducing that amount of time which you take in solving the questions of simple and compound interest. All right, now if we look at the common terms that we use here, so compound interest formula says that amount is equal to principal into 1 plus r upon 100 raised to the power n. All right, now the students who are attending this session for the first time, okay, I would like all of them to go back and look at the previous 3 lectures which are based on percentage increase decrease and profit loss discount. Those particular sessions will help you with a better understanding of this session as well. All right, Shagufta, good afternoon, good evening. Swagat, good evening. All right, so let's continue. So if I talk about different terms that I'm using here, so first of all, let us understand all these terms properly. All right, okay, so if I take them one by one: interest, amount, principal, number of years, and rate of interest. So I'll start from the principal. Okay, so if I'll start from the principal, so principal is the initial sum of money that probably will take a loan or will borrow somebody else. Okay, borrow from somewhere. All right. So this is the initial money that we have. We call it principal. Okay. So let's say I lend some money to you. Okay. So I lend 1000 rupees to you. So 1000 will become the principal. Now you have taken loan from me for, let's say, 3 years. So that will be the time period. Now, obviously, when I'll take my money back, I'll take some extra money. Okay. I'll earn something because I have lent you that money. All right. Now, the interest, the percentage at which my money will grow. Okay. That is called the rate of interest and is denoted by capital R. Okay. So let's say I have given you money for 3 years at a rate of 10%. All right. Now, the interest that will be calculated on this principal, that is the extra money that is generated, is called interest, denoted by capital I. And finally, when you will repaying me, you will be repaying me the total money, that is principal plus the interest, and that is termed as amount. Okay, so amount is the sum of the principal, the initial value, and interest, the value by which my money has increased. Okay, so these are generally the terms that we use in this chapter. All right. Okay. Now, if I look at these two formulas, obviously these two formulas can be applied directly. Okay. But generally, in some cases, we have seen, or like if I talk about this chapter, in majority of the questions, if you apply the concepts, then you can save plenty of time in that. All right. So let's have a look at some of the ways of saving our time. All right. Okay. So let's look at one of the illustration where I've taken the sum or the principal as 1000, which is kept at 10% per annum rate of interest. Okay. Now I'll be elaborating this particular thing from simple interest as well as from compound interest point of view. All right. Okay. So I have made a table for 4 years. Okay. And it has both simple and compound interest. Now let us go behind the concept of simple and compound interest. Now if I talk about simple interest, now in case of simple interest, the interest is always calculated on the principal. That means the interest is always calculated on the initial value. This is the main funda. This is the main concept behind simple interest. So always keep in mind just one statement about simple interest, that in simple interest, interest is always calculated on principal. Now in this illustration, the principal that we have is 1000 and which will remain same for all the years. All right. So that means in every year, interest will be calculated on this 1000 rupees, nothing else. Okay. The rate of interest is 10%. So interest in first year will be equal to 10% of 1000, that is 100 rupees. All right. Now, since we know that in case of simple interest, interest is always calculated on principal, and obviously principal will never change. So I can say that interest for every period will remain same in case of simple interest. All right. So in each of these years, we can say that simple interest will be equal. Sanket, you are asking, so grade up merged with BYJU'S. Yes, yes, Sanket. Now grade up, we don't have this name, so now we are BYJU'S Exam Prep. All right. Okay. So, friends, continuing to this fact. So, if we are talking about simple interest, since in case of simple interest, interest is always calculated on principal and principal will remain same, I can say that the interest for every year will also remain same. All right. So if I'll talk about principal for the second year, it is 1000. Interest will be 100. For the third year, it will happen the same way. And simultaneously for the fourth year, it will happen in the similar manner. So for fourth year, again, principal is 1000 and the interest is 100 rupees. All right. So important facts to remember about simple interest. In simple interest, interest is always calculated on principal And that is why the interest of every period remains same. Okay, all right. Okay, now let's have a look at the next thing. Now, Sanket, Shagufta, and Swagat, right now we are not talking about MHCT examination. Okay, the date is not announced yet, I think. Okay, so we are talking about simple and compound interest, and later on you can fetch the information about MHCT examination. All right, now Sanket has given a date, so let's continue with simple and compound interest. Okay, so this was simple interest up till this point. Now talking about compound interest, the most dreadly part. Okay, now what happens in compound interest? In the previous lectures we have seen the concept of successive percentage change. Compound interest is nothing but the application or the straightforward logic of successive percentage increase. All right, now in compound interest what happens is the final value at the end of any year, that means amount at the end of any year, becomes principal for the next year. All right, so that means amount at the end of first year will be equal to the principal for the next year. All right, so basically we will be basically implementing an increase over the increased value. All right, so for the first year the principal is 1000, interest will be calculated on this 1000. 10% of 1000 will be equal to 100. All right, very simple calculation. Now principal was 1000 and interest I have earned in the first year is 100 rupees. So I can say that the total amount at the end of first year is 1100 rupees. That is the sum of these two. All right. Now which will act as principal for the next year. Okay. So principal for the next year will be 1000 plus 100, that is 1100. Okay. Now, obviously, in the second year, we'll be getting interest on this value. Okay, so 10% of 1100 will be equal to 110, and we can say that interest for second year is 110. All right. Okay. Now, again, I'll add these two numbers. Okay, so this was the principal at the beginning of second year. This is the interest that I have earned in the second year. So amount at the end of second year is 1210. All right, 1210, and that will act as a principal for the next year. Okay, again calculate interest on this value at a rate of 10%. So interest of third year will be 121 rupees. All right, 121. Again this will be added to the principal, and the next year's principal will become 1331, on which if I'll calculate the interest, the value will be 133.1. Okay, so this is one simple way you can calculate compound interest for first, second, third, and so on years. All right, so this is one of the basic ways of calculating compound interest. All right, I'll give you one more way of doing that. Now remember, whatever things I am discussing right now, these things will directly be helpful. These things can directly be applied while solving the questions. Don't worry, I have examples for that as well in this lecture. Okay, fine. So this is one way of calculating compound interest. Now you will see that I have not used any formula as far as these calculations are concerned. Okay, right. Now let's have a look at the same illustration but in a different way of calculating compound interest. All right. Okay. So I'll pick the same values. A sum of 1000 rupees kept at 10% rate of interest, and this is compounded annually. All right. Compounded annually. So the compound interest will be applicable after every 1 year, right? So we have the principal of 1000 rupees. It is kept at 10% interest, which is per annum compounded annually. Okay. Now let's look at another way of calculating compound interest in different years. All right. Now, 1000 is the principal. Okay. So interest of first year will be 10% of 1000. That is 100 rupees. All right. So this is the interest of first year. Now, in the previous case, what we have done, if I'll go back, in the previous case, what we have done, we have added this interest to the principal. Okay, we have added these two values to generate the principal for the next year. And then on this value, we have calculated the interest at 10%. I'm not going to do that in this illustration. Okay, so I've already calculated interest of first year. To calculate interest of second year, what you can do is just copy the interest of previous year, which is 100, and calculate interest on this value. Okay, so interest on 100 rupees will be 10 rupees. Okay, so what I have done is I have copied the interest of previous year and I have given interest on the interest of previous year. Okay, so 10% of 100 is 10 rupees. So the interest of second year will be 100 plus 10, that is 110. Now wait and watch, you will understand it in the next case. So interest of third year, this is what I have to calculate. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just copy this value, okay, 110, and then provide or calculate interest on this value. So 10% of 110 is 11 rupees. So the interest will be 121 rupees for the third year. Likewise, for the fourth year, I'll copy this value 121 and will give interest on the interest of this year, that is 12.1, and the total interest for the third year is 133.1. Similar thing can be applied for the next years. Okay, am I clear? Right? So this is how you can make things easy while doing calculations when you have a question of compound interest. Okay, remember one thing, in case of compound interest, interest is given on the principal as well as whatever interest you have earned up till now. So compound interest can also be called as interest on interest as well. Okay, in simple interest, we earn interest only on principal, but in compound interest, we earn interest on the interest of previous years as well. All right. Now, this is one thing that can be used. To basically simplify a lot of questions when it comes to SI and CI. All right. Okay. Now, let's look ahead to one of the examples that is one of the favorite questions in these examinations. Okay, when the difference between simple and compound interest is given for a given period of time. Okay, so this is the question. So question says that the difference between simple and compound interest for the first 2 years is 34. Okay, so that means total simple interest for 2 years and total compound interest for 2 years. The difference between these two values is given as 34 rupees. All right. Now, obviously, this is a fact that compound interest will be more than simple interest. Okay, so I can say that for 2 years, compound interest is rupees 34 more than the simple interest for 2 years. All right. Okay. And you are also given the value of total simple interest earned in this period. So total simple interest earned in 2 years is 1360. All right. Now what we have to do is we have to find the rate of interest as well as the principal. Okay. Now generally in these type of questions, I make a small table like this. Simple interest, compound interest, year 1 and year 2. All right. So I will have 4 values. Simple interest for the first and the second year, compound interest for the first and the second year. All right. Now let's feed this table using some of the basic elementary things that we know about simple and compound interest. All right. Okay. Now the first thing that I will use is this number 1360. Now 1360 is the total simple interest earned in 2 years. Okay. So simple interest for 2 years, SI for 2 years is given as 1360. Now, from the logics that we have just seen a few minutes back, we got to understand that simple interest remains same for every period of time. So whatever simple interest I'll get in first year, the same I'll get in second year, third year, fourth year, and so on. Okay, so this simple interest of 2 years, which is 1360, should be equally divided among the 2 years. All right. So 1360 divided by 2 is 680. So 680 will be the interest for first year as well as the interest for second year if I'll talk about simple interest. All right. So simple interest for first year 680 and simple interest for second year is also 680. All right. I hope all of you understand this thing, right? Yes, Amish, we can do 1.1 say multiplication. This is what I have mentioned at the beginning, that compound interest is nothing but successive percentage change. So you can keep on increasing it by 10% by multiplying it with a multiplication factor of 1.1, which we have discussed in the previous sessions. All right. Okay. But we are not calculating the total amount. We were calculating the interest only in the previous illustrations. All right, Amish. Okay. Now, continuing from here, first year and second year simple interest is over. All right. So for the first and the second year, simple interest is over. Now let's talk about compound interest for the first year. So can you all write in the chat what will be the compound interest for the first year if simple interest for the first year is 680? All right. Now with the given facts that are there in front of you, I want all of you to write by yourself the value of compound interest in the first year. Okay. Now the logic says that in the first year, both simple and compound interest were calculated on the same principle. Let's say P is the principle. All right. So if they were calculated on the same value at the same rate of interest, so I can say that their values should be same. So yes, friends, simple interest for first year as well as compound interest for first year, both are equal. So compound interest for first year will also be 680. Wonderful, Karamjot. Correct answer you have given. All right. So now we are sorted with three values. Now let's look at the final and the foremost important value, the compound interest for second year. Now they are saying that the difference between SI and CI for the first 2 years is 34. That means compound interest for the first 2 years is 34 more than the simple interest for the first 2 years. Now we have seen that for first year, simple interest and compound interest are equal. So this difference of 34 rupees should be there in the second year only. So I can say that for second year, the compound interest should be 680 plus 34. All right, 680 plus 34. Good, Payal. Yes, you are absolutely right. So in the second year, compound interest will be 680 plus 34 rupees. All right. Am I clear? Since the difference, there was no difference in first year. So this difference of 34 rupees should be there in the second year. And I can write the compound interest for second year as 680 plus 34. All right. Now, if you'll remember, if you'll recall the illustration that I have taken on the previous page, to calculate the interest of second year, we copy the interest of first year and then generate interest on the interest of first year. So I can say that these 34 rupees are nothing but Interest calculated on 680 rupees at what percent? At R percent. Okay, so we can write 34 as R percent of 680. All right, we can calculate 34 as R percent of 680. Yes, Payal, you are absolutely right, 714, but I'll not write the sum of these two. Okay, I'll write them separately. 680 plus 34, that will help us in visualizing a lot of facts in a proper manner. All right. So this 34 rupees extra was the interest generated on the interest of first year. At what percentage? At R percentage. Okay. R is unknown. So that is why I have written R percent of 680 equals 34. Okay. From here, I can get the value of R. So the value of R will come out to be 5%. All right. So this is the first step that we have done. Okay. So R percent of 680 is 34. So the value of R will come out to be 5%. All right. Okay. So one thing is over. We have calculated the value of rate of interest. Now let's move towards principal. So let's say principal is P. All right. Now you can consider any one of these two, simple interest or compound interest of the first year. All right. Now these two values, 680 rupees, simple interest for the first year. This is the interest that is calculated on the principal, right? At what percentage, at what interest? At 5%. Okay. So I can say that 5% of principal should be equal to 680 rupees. All right. Again, a simple application of percentages. So 5% of principal should be the interest of first year. Okay. So now you can get the value of principal with this calculation. All right. So the value of principal will be equal to 13600. Okay. So what I have done is I have just written two things, 34 as R percent of interest of first year. From here you can get the value of R. All right. Secondly, I have written that 5% of principal is equal to the interest of first year. That's it. So this is what is required here to get the correct answers. Now Raj, you need to rectify your answer. Answer is 13600. Karamjot, just do the calculations properly. 13600 will be the value of principal. All right. Okay. So this is how you can make things easy. So generally, whenever you see a question involving simple and compound interest, you see a comparison between them. And if you're drawing this kind of table, then a lot of things will become simple for all of you. All right. Okay. Now friends, let's move ahead and look at the next part. Now when compounding happens annually or half yearly or quarterly. Okay, fine. So what is the difference between these compounding periods? So the question says that a sum of 10,000 rupees is kept at 40% per annum compound interest. Okay, find the total interest and the amount. So if you have interest, you can easily get the value of amount at the end of 1 year. So 1 year is given to you if the compounding happens annually. Now, what do I mean by compounded annually, compounded half yearly, compounded quarterly? It means a very simple thing. So compounded annually means calculated annually. That means the calculation will happen once after the end of every year. Okay. Compounded half yearly means the calculation will happen at the end of every half year. That means at the end of every 6 months. Quarterly means calculation will happen at the end of every quarter. That means after every 3 months. That's all. Okay, fine. Now there are certain things. So obviously there is no need to run towards the formula in this case also. Okay. So if I look at the basic things, now the total rate of interest is given as 40%. but this rate of interest is for the entire year. You can see this important thing at the end of this rate of interest, which is 40% per annum. Per annum means per year. So rate of interest will be 40%, but for the entire duration of 1 year. Okay. So if I am calculating things annually, so that means I will require the interest for the entire period, entire 1 year. So in this case, rate of interest will be considered as 40% for one entire year. All right. Now, if I look at the second case, in which calculations are happening after every half year. So since calculations are happening after every half year, I'll be needing the interest for half a year. Interest for one complete year is 40%. So interest for half a year will be 20%. Okay. Finally, for quarterly, since the calculation will happen 4 times in 1 year, so for every quarter, the rate of interest will become 10%. Okay. So in the first case, rate of interest is for the entire 1 year. In the second case, 20% is the rate of interest for 6 months. And in the third case, 10% is the rate of interest for 1 quarter. That means for 3 months. Okay. Now, the total time period given to us is 1 year. Okay. So in the first case, if the calculation will happen after every 1 year and I have a total of only 1 year, so that means the calculation will happen only one time. In the second case, since calculation will happen after every 6 months, so in a total 1 year duration, calculation will happen twice. And in the third case, calculation will happen 4 times. All right. Okay. Now for the first case, when we have compounded annually, okay, I need to just increase the principal once by 40%. Okay. So if 10,000 is increased once by 40%, so the final value will be 1.4 multiplied by the original value, which is 10,000. Okay. So this will be the amount, that is 14,000. So 10,000 will become 14,000 after 1 year if it is compounded annually. Second, if it is compounded half yearly. All right. So the calculations will happen twice. So there will be an increase of 20%. How many times? 2 times. All right. Now this can be solved in two different ways. So either what you may do is you may increase 10,000 twice by 20%. Now if I'll increase a value by 20%, there is a factor of 1.2 that will be multiplied. Okay, this we have seen in the previous lectures. Okay, so 1.2 for one increase and another 1.2 for the second increase, which will be multiplied by the initial value. So I can write the final value as 1.2 square multiplied by 10,000. Okay, I'm leaving this calculation part on you. This is very easy. Okay, so this is one way in which you can get the final amount. All right. Otherwise, you can use the formula of successive percentage increase. Now, if I'm increasing anything by 20% and then again by 20%, using the formula of successive percentage increase, I can say that the net increase can be given by a plus b plus ab upon 100. Again, this thing we have covered earlier. So 20 plus 20 plus 20 into 20, which is 400 upon 100 is 4. So there will be a net increase of 44%. A net increase of 44%, the final value amount will be equal to 1.44 times the original value, which is 10,000. Okay. Now, in some cases, they may also ask you to find out the net percentage increase. So I can say that it will be 44% and answer can be written as 14400. Okay. 14,400 will be the final answer. All right. So this is for annual and half year calculations. You have two different ways of doing that. both will lead you to the same answer. 1.2 square, what is 1.2 square? It is nothing but 1.44. All right. Okay. So this is one way of doing these calculations. All right. Now let's move towards the last part. Okay. So I am erasing whatever is there on the screen to look at the last part, quarterly. Now in quarterly, calculations will happen 4 times, and each time the value will increase by 10%. Okay. So you can write the final value as, so a 10% increase will generate a factor of 1.1. Taken 4 times, it will be 1.1 raised to the power 4 multiplied by 10,000. All right. 10,000. Right. Okay. Now this is one of the ways of doing quarterly calculation. The second way is I'll again calculate the net percentage increase. Now in this case, I have a 10% increase happening 4 times. Okay, 10% increase happening 4 times. So first of all, I'll club these two values. They will give me a resultant increase of 21%. And again, these two values, a resultant of 21% increase. Now, I'll combine these two values again by using the same formula, a plus b plus ab upon 100. So 21 plus 21 plus 21 into 21 is 441. 441 upon 100 is 4.41, and the net value is 46.41 percentage increase. Okay, so net increase is 46.41 percentage. All right, so I can say that I can apply a single increase of 46.41, and the final value or amount will be equal to 1.4641 times the original value. All right. And that is 14641. This is the final amount in the third case. Okay. Now, Gajodhar, you are asking, sir, 1.2 kaise aaya? So Gajodhar, I request you to kindly go back and look at the sessions that I have previously taken. So these sessions are on percentages, basics, percentage increase and decrease, as well as profit loss discount. So just look at 3 sessions that I have taken in the last few days. Okay, so you can look for these sessions on the BYJU'S Exam Prep channel through which you are attending this lecture, and you will get to understand all these things properly. Okay, fine. So Gajodhar, if you are looking to do good in all these things, you need to look at the previous sessions and they will help you definitely. All right. Okay. So friends, that is all from my side. So this is how we treat the questions of simple and compound interest in the basic manner. All right. So what I have shown is we haven't used any formulas, but we have used the basic concepts of percentage change that we have seen in the previous lectures. All right. Okay. All right, so Gajodhar, I'll explain it here once. So Gajodhar, first quickly look at this. So let's say initial value is X and I want to increase it by 23%. Okay, I'm just taking random example. So final value will be X plus 23% of X. All right, that means X plus 23 upon 100 into X. I take X common and you will get 1 plus 23 upon 100. All right. Now 23 upon 100 is 0.23 plus 1 will be 1.23 times the original value. So if I wanted to increase any number by 23 percentage, okay, the final value will be 1.23 multiplied by X. So likewise, if you want to increase X by 41 percentage, so 41 will be divided by 100, that is 0.41, and then 1 will be added to that to generate this factor 1.41, which will be multiplied by the initial value. So when you have an increase of 20%, like you are asking, so 20 upon 100 is 0.2 plus 1 is 1.2 times X. All right. Now we should be able to do all these things in a single step. Okay. So it will save a lot of your time. All right. Okay. All right, Manoj, you are asking grade up के teachers BYJU'S पे क्यों आ रहे हैं? Because Manoj, the name of grade up has now changed. So it was the previous name. Now we are not using this name anymore, and we have become BYJU'S Exam Prep. All right. So now I am a teacher for BYJU'S Exam Prep. I am no longer a teacher which is teaching for grade up. Okay. So this transition has happened today only. So now GradeUp has become BYJU'S Exam Prep. All right. Okay, great. So friends, that's all from my side. Now friends, this is the entire schedule that we are running on BYJU'S Exam Prep channel through which you are attending this lecture. So this is the entire schedule for the week. Okay, you may follow. Now friends, definitely, like, if you like this session, if you liked whatever I've taught you, please do press the like button, do comment, share and subscribe our channel. All right. Now these are the different CAT courses and courses for other MBA examinations that we offer at BYJU'S Exam Prep. So we have the complete course for CAT 2022. We have a percentile booster batch. We have score 99 plus percentile, a comprehensive course for students who are appearing for CAT 2021. And the third batch is percentile booster batch, again for CAT 2021 aspirants. Now, if you're not targeting CAT but targeting SNAP, NMAT, CMAT, or TISNET examinations, then you will have an option of another batch you may join. All right. Now, this is the complete detail for one such batch, which is targeting SNAP, Narsi Munji, CMAT, and TISNET examinations. So you may have a look at this. And in case you want any support, you may call us on these numbers, which are given at the bottom of the screen. Now, this is the list of experts that we have on our panel. If you look at the average experience, so we share an average experience of 15 years and above among us. Now, some of the percentile booster courses, a complete course for CAT 2022 as well. So these are the complete details for these batches which are there on the screen. Okay. Friends, that's all from my side. Thank you for attending this session. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook. You can join us on Telegram and can subscribe our channel with the name of BYJU'S Exam Prep. That's all from my side, friends. Thank you very much. And I'll keep on coming with the same sessions for all of you so that you can increase your percentile in QA section of any of the examinations. Thank you very much. Have a good day.